Stay tuned for Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas, a leading financial retirement strategist and the founder of Soutas Financial and Insurance Solutions, right here in Fresno. Every week, Dale discusses pressing financial topics of the week, ranging from reliable income strategies to our financial markets, including Social Security, tax strategies, wealth management, RMDs, legacy planning, long-term care solutions, and most importantly, how to make sure you have enough guaranteed lifetime income to retire your way with choice and dignity. From taxes to trends to total transparency, Dale covers it all. And now, here is Retire Your Way and Dale Soutas. That's right, friends. This is Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
We don't need that bell.
Oh, come on. You knew I was going to have to ask you about the markets a little bit. I know it's the weekend here. Maybe people are trying not to think about it. But first of all, how are you doing this week, Dale?
Doing very good. How are you, Spike?
I'm good. Makes things really, really busy when the markets are like this. Lots of phone calls, lots of emails.
Oh, yeah.
For what we do. On the other hand, not so much from your clients, but so let's talk about it. We want to be mindful for our audience out there. We watch this and we watch it kind of from a sociological perspective. We can take a step back from it. But for those
an ecological standpoint.
Yeah. But for those of you who are still working or you need to be saving, if you're looking in your one individual savings pile, your different investment accounts and so forth, You might be saying, I don't like this volatility. This isn't something that is sociological for me. This is my real life savings. Dale, what are you doing for folks who are really close to retirement right now?
Well, a lot of times, regardless if we're in the roller coaster we're in right now, I mean, the big ups and big downs, and now it's popping back up a little bit. Who knows, right? Whether it's level, slowly increasing, going down, what we coach people to do is similar. You're getting closer to retirement. Even if you're still working, start positioning some of your assets to where you have less or no volatility. Protect what you have. I mean, you worked hard, saved hard. As you get closer to retirement, it makes sense. Instead of being focused on how much my money can grow, you need to focus on how much money we can keep. And then, you also need, you stop working, you need to position for retirement income too, because most people are not getting pensions anymore. They're getting, their 401ks and their defined benefit plan, or excuse me, not defined benefit, but what do they call it? The 457s, 403Bs. So
even the TSP for federal employees?
TSPs, for federal employees. Those are very much the same as, 401k basically. But most all of those, you don't have as much say in how they're invested. You tell them, I want it more conservative, great. Or you have all these retirement date strategies or whatever. But
target date funds.
So you have... but you have volatility, and certainly you don't want to end up as you get real close to retirement. I'm going to retire, and then boom, we see what's happening lately, and your money drops, by a third or more, and you feel like, well, now I better keep working because my money's down. That's no way to be heading into retirement. So if you're a few years from retirement, why not put our heads together? We need to see, well, what are you going to need once you do retire, income-wise, otherwise? And it might be that we start positioning some of your money. There's something called an in-service transfer where people can actually move some of their retirement funds out into an IRA without having to pay taxes on it, and they can transfer some of it or even all of it to position it for their future and, have less risk or even no risk, and have, systems where they can have that money grow and or create additional income in their retirement. So
okay.
There's things like that.
So there's things we can do, right? That's my concern right now, is that for those who are thinking, well, I wanted to retire this year, I certainly want to get away from this volatility, but like you said, we're not building that income or building that savings now in that retirement account. We're trying to figure out how much we can save it, let it grow a little bit, but then turn it into our income plan. So we're preserving it. We need to preserve it as much as we can. And the closer we are to retirement, we don't want these ups and downs. So the in-service withdrawal, I want to repeat it for our listeners out there. This is something that you can do, possibly. I think you need to find out, but I think most retirement plans allow you to do so. If you're over 59 and a half, you can roll it out to your own personal IRA.
Right.
So when you're rolling it out there, though, is it basically still in the same funds? You have to do something actively with it then, don't you?
Well, keep in mind, you have a company plan, 401k, TSP, 403b, whatever. Most of those are just typically tied to stocks, bonds, and cash. Okay. Oh, no, I got mutual funds. Well, mutual funds are just a combination of bonds or stocks. Okay. So you don't have typically as many varied options to invest in when it's still in the company's hands. So when you do roll over some of your company plan into your personal IRA, individual retirement account, now you have many more options on how that can be invested, and so you can have more variety and smooth out the ride. You don't have to take the big highs and big lows. You can smooth out that ride and not be you don't need to take as much risk. A lot of people I see, they've got, hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million or more, and their money's still tied. I had somebody recently, well, the last time I looked, I had, 1.3 million in my 401k. Great. Okay. But I think it dropped a couple 100,000 recently. It's like, okay.
Hey, I don't know for our listeners, but that is not chump change to me. That is a big difference.
So, and, sometimes I have a balanced portfolio. Well, guess what? A balanced portfolio is 60% stock, 40% bond. And if you look at some of the times when the markets dropped a lot, like in 08, 09, you're looking at still dropping sometimes 25 to 35% of your, holdings. So can your money last in retirement that way? And most people recognize, well, no, that's not the way. I'm going to be comfy, retired, and feeling good, and feeling like I don't have to go back to work. So we like to structure things so people know their income will last. And just like on the plaque on my desk, it says not to spoil the ending for you, but everything's going to be okay. And if you have things dialed in properly, you've got income dialed in that is going to keep up with inflation, last to your wife's age 100. Females age 100, and you'll be able to pay the bills, you'll be able to play, and we've got systems to keep you out of a nursing home, building in the care check, as we call it, a long-term care check, into your income plan without having to buy long-term care insurance. Well, a lot of people say, well, that would be nice. I ask them, how would you feel if your income, it's set, and you still have money to play with? Well, that'd be great. They relax. They focus on more important things. They're not worried about money.
Folks, call and get your own portfolio review. We totally understand. For those who are close to retirement, the volatility in these markets, it's making you maybe think all the way back to 2008 when you see what happened. Now, you had time to let your accounts recover, but now, from the 2008 to here, you're probably closer to your late 50s, early 60s. We don't have that 10 years to let something recover. So let's figure out where you're at right now. Possibly do an in-service withdrawal. Move it into a situation. What is it just a tiny bit dangerous right now is people thinking, well, I'll be safer. I don't want to be risky right now, so I'm going to stop contributing to my 401ks. And I've seen all kinds of reports and stories like that online. That's not the move. Please don't make emotional decisions right now. That's not going to necessarily protect what happens to your 401ks. That just means that you're no longer putting money in. Right now, actually, for anybody who's continuing to work, you're dollar cost averaging, you're getting those same choices that you've picked in funds on sale. But we don't want your accounts to be going down hundreds of thousands of dollars because of the market volatility. The Dow Jones, as of December 2024, reached its high, 45,000. Our Dow Jones has now dipped below 37,000. It's come back to 38 and 39. We're talking about losing about 15%. Do you want to lose 15% of your nest egg, 20% or more, before going into retirement? I don't think it's worth the risk. And that's why Dale, right now, go ahead, buddy. I was going to give out the phone number for you.
The baby boomer Dilemma movie exposes this retirement experiment that Americans have, which is, years ago it was you'd work for a company and get a pension when you retire. But that's harder and harder for an employer to figure out how much do I save for this employee. So 20, 30 years, they have this guaranteed lifetime income. So they're getting away from that. They're having you put money into 401ks and TSPs and all that. And then the danger is what they call the retirement red zone. And that's 5 years before and 5 years after you retire. So that's not the time to be gambling with your retirement money. That's where you really want to start really minimizing the risk on your portfolios. So that's what we try to emphasize with people. And even if you're retired and you're worried about your money, just let's put our heads together. Let's see what can be done. I don't want people being in retirement and just doing nothing because even though they want to do all these fun things, because just in case something happens, whether it's the market or health or whatever, dial in your plan and know that your money's going to last and you can relax and enjoy.
Yeah, relax and enjoy by calling the phone number, knowing where your portfolio risk is, especially if you're still in your working years. There are things you can do to protect your 401k while you're still working. Give us a call. We'll have that conversation with you. You can sit down with your financial advisor, Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial, 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. We know the stock market is on your mind. Let Dale help put you to sleep. We'll be right back after these messages.
Stock market losses have you worried? Claim your free portfolio risk report and protection review from financial advisor Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial right now. Call 833-856-1382. If the recent market volatility has you worried about your retirement investments, you're not alone. Right now is the time to take action to protect your investments. Surely markets do not always rise, but if you're in your 50s, 60s, or 70s, you don't have the same time to make up for portfolio losses as you did in your 30s and 40s. Claim your portfolio risk review from Soutas Financial today. Call 833-856-1382 or go to Soutas.com. Your portfolio risk review will provide action steps of what you could do to protect your wealth from current market swings. Get your free portfolio risk review right now. Call Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial at 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382 or Soutas.com. That's SOUTAS.com.
You've heard the phrase, you don't know what you don't know, and we believe it's especially true when it comes to retirement planning. There's a lot of information out there, and it can be overwhelming and confusing. So how do you know what you don't know? Social Security, RMDs, estate planning, investment risk. These are just a few of the many areas that a financial advisor can help you navigate. But what else don't you know when it comes to retirement planning? Are you aware of all of the tax implications of your investments? Do you know how to optimize your Social Security benefits? What about your long-term care and estate planning needs? We believe that by working with a retirement planning advisor, you can uncover potential blind spots in your financial plan and gain a better understanding of your options. Don't let unknown factors potentially derail your retirement. Call Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial to uncover what you may not know about your retirement future and start your complimentary written financial plan. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. Or you can write Dale at dale@soutas.com. That's SOUTAS.com.
For your own complimentary Retire Your Way review, call Dale Soutas of Retire Your Way and Soutas Financial at 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Welcome back to Retire Your Way with your financial advisor right here in California, Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial. You want to learn more about the team? Go to his website, soutas.com, SOUTAS.com. You can write him directly. You can write him any financial question you have at his email, dale@soutas.com. Dale, the @ symbol, SOUTAS.com. Or just keep listening to us, and I'll give out the phone number in a little bit. Dale, it always, I guess, makes us curious sometimes what holds people off from working with somebody who has their best interest in mind. Yeah. Or what is it?
Why don't you call? Why don't you set a time to come in? And it's just amazing the funny
Yeah.
people after years of hearing us talk, right? They say, "Well, I've been hearing you for years, and so I figured I might as well come in." And then I love it when they say, "You're just like what you sound like on the radio." Well, what am I going to be? I mean, I don't know how to be different than that.
Well, and I don't blame the listener, and I like this. It's very interesting because you're thinking about it as the lens of yourself. People are like, oh, why haven't they called in to Dale Soutas yet? And I think it's more of, why don't people feel comfortable or understand calling a financial advisor? And I think one of the very first objections people are going to say, no matter how many times you and I say it on the radio, they're going to say, oh, well, it's probably going to be too expensive. It's going to be really expensive.
Or what does it cost? I mean, I spend an hour at least, let's say, getting to know them and getting some basic info. I get the ballpark on their income assets. I don't ask for account numbers or social security number. I don't need that. I just say roughly, what do you have in the bank? What do you have in your retirement accounts? What's your property? Approximately what they're worth? What do you owe on them? Whatever, things like that, right? What's your projected Social Security if it hasn't started? What's your projected pensions if you have any? What are you making now? And basically, what do you need to pay the bills? And what do you want to do when you retire? How much fun? And what's it going to cost? I get the basic info, right? And before they leave, 9 out of 10 will always say, so how do you get paid? And it's like, and, it made me think, years ago, there was a long time ago, probably 26 years ago, there was an outfit asking me to, because of my license back then, they said they wanted me to work with them. It's kind of entertaining. What do you have to offer? What's it all about for me, right? And it was interesting because they said, well, everybody comes in, you get to charge them $500 to do up a plan.
Oh gosh.
And I thought to myself, $500? I thought, well, why do they need to pay just to do a plan? I mean, what if they don't want to work with me, right? So even to this day, technically the way I'm licensed, as you know, a fiduciary, a financial advisor, I could charge to do and prep a retirement income plan. But guess what? We don't. If you want to work with us, you're going to know exactly how we get paid. If we use this type of tool, or if we use that type of tool, or a combination of many different tools, we will be showing you, some of the tools, like if we put money under management, where, like you hear the thing, we do better when you do better. Well, because there's a little fee in that account that comes out if we're managing money, but our fee is really low, which includes, there's no hidden fees. It's like the maximum we might charge is 1% a year, but typically it's even less than that. But then there's other tools that you don't pay a penny because they're commission based. So you would know, but the key is, it doesn't matter how many times we sit down together and put our heads together. And if we want to work together, like I said, or not, you're not going to get a bill. You're not going to cut a check to us. Keep your checkbooks at home. We just need to know what you really want to accomplish. And if we can help, fine. If everything's set, fine. I'm going to pat you on the back and say, keep doing it. Things like that. But we're looking at the whole picture, too. So it might not just be the one little thing you're coming in to say, is my money earning enough, or is it safe enough? There may be other things we're looking at as far as tax-wise, how to make sure assets pass on to your kids and grandkids, or there could be a whole number of other things that we see that maybe you're not looking at.
And here's the thing. I would love to be able to save some money by not having to have a mechanic work on my car. We know that there's going to be costs there. It gives me a pit in my stomach when I start to hear a thunking or something like that on my car. I'm like, oh boy, I wonder how many zeros this is going to cost me to go and have it fixed. But on the other hand, if you try doing it on your own, that, cars are a lot more complicated today. It's really expensive, and who knows if you're even going to get it right. It just seems like people feel like they can handle their expenses, their investments on their own, even though it can cost them just as much by trying to do it on their own. Simply the blind spots. So if the first thing that's on your mind for our listeners out there is it'll probably be too expensive, there's no cost to sit down with Dale. There's no cost for a conversation. There's no cost for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 appointments, however many it's going to be, however long it takes, and whatever the relationship is. As Dale just said,
You're not going to get a bill from him. Leave your credit cards at home. Leave the purse at home. There isn't a charge for it. So why don't we show you what the service could be like if cost is the first thing that's keeping you from picking up the phone and talking to somebody? Again, whether it's us or someone like us, just make sure they're a fiduciary and they have your best interests in mind. But if you want to sit down and have your own dedicated conversation with Dale, just dial the phone number. Set up your appointment, 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. Dale, I think we've also kind of joked about this phrase before. Most people don't get married on the first date. And if you have out there, I'd like to hear that story. So write Dale at dale@soutas.com. If you went on a first date and you ended up getting married later that night, we want to hear about it. But part of that comes down to a trust and getting to know one another. Now, you've already started to address it. That's what the first meeting is about, is getting to know somebody. It's not so much about dollars and cents and investments and all that stuff, but more so kind of trying to figure out what's on their minds. But trust is a factor. Not all advisors or people who call themselves our advisors are the same. How does the general public know who they're sitting across from, Dale? What kind of questions should they ask? Or maybe you can just speak from your point of view. How are people supposed to know what the financial representative is about, who's sitting across from them?
Well, I would think it's interesting because I've had a few recently where they have interviewed different advisors, and I thought it was interesting because one said, you asked a lot of different questions. Well, yeah, because I need to know really where you're headed. If you're going to retire at this point, what do you want to do? I mean, it's nothing to just say here's some accounts you could throw your money into and make it grow. That's a no-brainer. But how do you want that money? What do you really want that money to do? I mean, people are different. I mean, I get some coming in and their whole focus is how to make sure as much as possible goes to their kids and grandkids, okay? And then I get ones who are kind of the opposite. No, if we're going to spend it all and go have as much fun as we can, and they get whatever's left over. And then everybody in between as well. But people have different desires. I have ones, they've got plenty of money, but they're what we call fun. The paycheck pays the bills. The play check allows you to goof off and do stuff. I mean, I mentioned a long time ago, there's a couple that they like to take a couple trips a year, and on average, it's $10,000 a trip. So we budget $20,000 a year for their play check just for that point. Yet in their plan, I beefed it up. I put 4 trips a year, $40,000, to see would their money last if they're playing more, and it would. Then I have ones, they have money, but they're happy at home. They don't want to travel. They don't have expensive tastes and all that. So, yeah, the difference is we're going to get into knowing what you're about, because your plan has to be your plan. It doesn't need to be somebody else I talked to earlier in the week or last month.
Dale, it seems like you have a really shiny, flashy personality. Do you think trust is one of the issues that people have with you? And I'm being highly sarcastic right now.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty easy once people sit in front of you that you are who you sound like. This is how you talk. This is how you do the radio show. I don't ask you to be anything different. You don't try to come off as anything different. You're just a guy who's been doing this for a long time, and you like to help people kind of pre-retirement and in retirement. Do you think anybody who's sat across from you has a problem trusting that that's exactly what you do?
I think they get it. Because, for one, an attorney I've known now 24 years, it took them almost 2 years to get used to me because, I joke around. People come in so serious and stressed. The last thing our staff knows that they need is more stress. So, and I had one lady in her late 80s sitting across, very conservative little lady, cocked her head sideways and said, you're the most unusual person I've ever met. So I smiled real big. I said, well, thank you. And I kept on being me. In other words, I don't know how to be somebody else. I'm just going to be, I want you to relax. I need to know what you're really about. Yeah. If I'm part of your family, knowing what I know, this is what I would encourage you to do to make sure you're happy in retirement.
For our listeners out there, if you haven't picked up a phone before to sit down with Dale, if trust or cost has been one of the first things on your mind, let us help you dispel that in your own mind. Come in, sit down, have a conversation with Dale. Whatever's on your mind, let us help you put together your financial plan for retirement. It'll give you peace of mind. When we get back, Dale, I want to talk about folks who actually feel like it's stressful or worried about it, or they just would rather not think about it because there are too many things to think about. We have so many more issues to address for folks who haven't quite reached out to a financial advisor yet when we get back. But for you, if you're ready, call us right now. People are standing by to schedule that time. 833-856-1382. We'll be right back after this.
How do you know if you're retirement ready? That's a question many people ask themselves as they approach their golden years. We believe the answer can be complex and depends on many factors, such as your savings, monthly expenses, and lifestyle goals. At Soutas Financial, we can help you determine if you're retirement ready. We'll work with you to assess your financial situation, identify any potential income gaps, and develop a customized plan that aligns with your goals. Don't leave your retirement to chance. Call us today to learn how we can help you work towards achieving financial security and peace of mind in retirement. Call Dale Soutas and the team at Soutas Financial for your complimentary retirement readiness review. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
As a valued radio listener of Retire Your Way, Dale Soutas and the entire team of retirement professionals at Soutas Financial invite you to schedule your very own complimentary retirement planning session. If you don't have a retirement strategy mapped out that includes low-fee investment elections, tax minimization strategies, decumulation plans from your savings that will last as long as you need them to, then call for your own retirement planning session, complimentary for our valued radio listeners. 833-856-1382. Are you able to lower your taxes in retirement? Are you unclear about your Social Security, Medicare, investment fees, and risks, or how to produce ongoing income that lasts your entire retirement? Then call Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial to schedule your own comprehensive retirement planning session. No cost to our valued radio listeners. 833-856-1382.
To get your complimentary Retire Your Way review, call Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial at 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
This is Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial right here in California. Call the phone number so you can get started on your own free written financial plan for retirement. 833-856-1382. Dale, I've got an entire list of objections that people might have with working with a financial advisor. And it's not that somebody's done something wrong yet. It's just our own personal things in our mind or these stories that we tell ourselves. How about this one? If somebody's thinking to themselves, well, I probably don't have enough money to work with a financial advisor. What do you say to that?
Well, let's take it both ways. I've had people who, have hesitated coming in because they didn't think they had enough. Because, out there advertising, people are always saying, you got to have $1 million. No, you don't. It all depends on really what you're all about. I've had people with a couple $100,000 or even less, and we'd be able to dial plans in. But then let's take it the other. I have more than enough money. I don't need you. And then they find out there's things they're doing that could really mess up what they want their money to do. So we take it with both extremes. But again, we're not going to pin you down on the ground and say you have to work with us. Just know that we're going to look at the whole picture. And I liken it to recently I took my van in because I don't know how to update the GPS. And so, not to worry.
They do that to you on purpose. No, I have different cars. They want you to go to the dealership.
My wife knows. We used to go up to Old Town Sacramento, and I'd miss the exit all the time using GPS. Okay, so it's fun. But so it's not like I really need it updated. But anyway, and then we talked about, well, how often, at what mileage should my transmission be done and all this. And they had all these suggestions. And,
you know what? I also want to say to the other passengers out there, not to cut you off there, Dale. Keep going with that thought. But I want to say to the passengers, because I've missed the exit as well. And my Ashley will look at me and say, how did you miss the exit? It's on the GPS. Hey, we're looking at a lot of things, okay? There's other cars out there. We're making sure we're not hitting people who are walking off the sidewalk. Sometimes you miss an exit, even if it's on the GPS. I was actually supporting you,
Exactly.
Dale.
Yeah, exactly. Because when I get tired, I just put it on cruise control, jump in the back seat. No,
No.
no. But anyway, but the point being is there's a lot of different things like a vehicle to look at and keep up with. And if that's not what you love doing, then you take it to somebody who knows how to help you keep it in fine tune and keep it running. And that's all we do. We just look at the whole picture. It doesn't matter if you have a ton of money or a tiny bit of money. If you're concerned at all about wondering, will my money last? Will I have enough income? Will I be able to do the things I want to do? Well, use us that way. I mean, literally, you just use us that way. We could put our heads together, and you don't have to hire us. You don't have to pay us. Let's put our heads together, and it doesn't have to be stressful. It's easy.
Yeah, if you're worried that you don't have enough money. Look, there are other firms and commercials out there that, will say things like, if you have $500,000 saved for retirement,
exactly.
shouldn't you talk to an advisor? Look,
No.
that might be more than enough. You could have $500 million. You could have a couple $100,000. Look, everybody's retirement is
doesn't
different.
matter.
You might have different reasons why you have more or less. That's not up for us to judge. Let's see how we can help you with the tools that you have, with the resources
Right.
you have, to help design the lifestyle that you want.
But it's interesting too, that stressful idea.
Yeah, I can understand that.
We
Hey,
make
it's
it
too
easy.
stressful.
I have people coming in with stacks of things, and I say, well, I don't want to see that yet. Let's get acquainted. And then they find out that they don't have to have every tiny little detail, thing that they brought in. Sometimes there's little things they bring in, and yeah, that's helpful. But again, initially, if you know basically what you're making now, what you expect to make in retirement, or even if you're retired, about how much Social Security, pensions, whatever, what roughly you have in different accounts and investments and property values, that's our starting point. If we need to get more detail, we'll give you a list of things to find, but it's usually not real difficult. In fact, how much do you need to pay your bills? We have a little sheet that makes it really easy for people to look at all the different things they might have to pay through the year and zero it down to a monthly amount. I don't like to say the word budget, but technically it is.
Well, or income plan or spending plan, or just what are your expenditures per month? And I like what you're saying. For our listeners out there, you don't have to have all of the dots connected. You might know exactly where your investment accounts are, how much they fluctuate up and down. How are you going to turn it into income? What are your tax rates? You probably have an idea of what you're going to pay down on your mortgage, or are you close to it? You don't have to have all of the dots connected. That's Dale's job. That's for him to do. So think of it this way, folks. If you're avoiding it because you're stressful, how many times have you avoided stressful things in your life, went through the experience finally, and been so greatly relieved because now it's off your shoulders. It's off your mind. Think of the peace of mind that you can have by going, you know what? We're not doing so bad. You know what? I think that kind of retirement date we're looking at, I think that one might work. Or, we're within a few months of being able to do that. Wouldn't the peace of mind of knowing help you sleep at night? I think the worry insurance is worth it. Call the phone number, folks. Let's get you started on your own review. You don't have to have the dots connected on all of your financial instruments. Let Dale help you do that. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. Dale, I also have to talk about the other spouse. That spouse who's looking at their spouse saying, honey, have we done our financial planning yet? Are we set for retirement? Have you figured out the numbers? And the other spouse is saying, I can do it myself. Don't worry. I've got this. What do you say to that one? Do you want to get in the middle of that conversation or stay out of that one?
There's a variety of it. I'll pick on Bob 25 years ago. He used to come in a couple, 2-3 times a year, and we'd just chat, and he'd quiz me about different things. But he actually had a good handle on how he invested, and he played the stock market 4 to 6 hours a day. In other words, he watched his money. That was his hobby. He was retired, and he was on top of it. And finally, he asked me to meet his wife, and I met her, and a couple times, and And I realized, his health wasn't great, and sure enough, he up and died. We could have killed him for doing that, but anyway, so, yeah. Anyway, but she and I recognized what he did. He was basically interviewing me because we never did any business for 2-3 years that he would come in, but he kind of set us up because he knew I would. Look after his wife because she wasn't going to be studying the stock market every day, watching all those accounts, and we just slowly over time, got things positioned that she understood, that kept the money going. And she lasted till, I think, age 96. And the beautiful thing about it is that wealth kept growing and she had plenty to do what she wanted. Her care was covered. And, kids ended up inheriting quite a bit. But then we have ones who, they think they, are on it, but or they don't want to play with that. They don't want to be on top of it. Yeah. So it's good to just, even if you feel you're on it and you're really good at it, let's put our heads together. Let's just see, is it really going to last the way you think? Because sometimes people think, I got this big lump of money and I could just take money off of it from month to month to supplement my Social Security and I'll be okay. But realize the market goes up and down. So when it goes up, you don't sell as much of the shares of whatever you're invested in to get that income. But when the market drops, you have to sell more of that, whatever you have to get the same income. So that's called a sequence of returns. And none of us have that crystal ball on what it's going to be like in retirement. And that system fails more than half the time for people to actually reach their goals and have their money last their lifetime. So we need to use us that way. Just even if you want to keep doing it yourself like Bob did, understand you've got someone to back you up and can see, and if something happens to you, can help your spouse to know things will be okay too.
Well, there's a couple of things in there. First of all, yeah. So for somebody who does have a spouse, maybe you do enjoy having your hands on the steering wheel of your own investments and portfolio. What happens, though, if something happens to you? A, do they know what your strategy and plan is? B, do they enjoy doing it as much, meaning managing the investments? Or are you also solo in retirement, meaning you are in charge of yourself? Maybe you've had a divorce or your spouse has already passed away. This is all the more reason to have somebody have a good general idea of what your investments are doing for you, because if something were to happen to you, and as volatile as our markets, our stock markets in particular, have been, what if you can't have your hands on the steering wheel for a few days, a few weeks, a few months? Who's going to take care of that for you? So appreciate that there is a lot of internet help out there so you can somewhat manage your own investments, but do you know what you're doing? Sometimes a little bit of knowledge is dangerous. Call the phone number. Let us help you do a review. Let us give you the peace of mind that you can reach out to a fiduciary financial advisor who has your best interests in mind. We've talked about trust. We've talked about cost, liking to do it yourself. And when we come back, I want to talk about what about somebody who's even so embarrassed that they just don't want to show anybody their situation. But for you folks right there, if you know that you want to get your financial income plan started right now, call 833-856-1382. It is no cost to our radio listeners for you to sit down with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial. We'll be right back.
Do you know how much you might be paying in fees within your retirement accounts? Just 1 or 2% in hidden fees can eat into your savings and potentially hinder your ability to achieve your retirement goals. But how do you know if you're currently paying these hidden fees, and how do you find them? Dale Soutas and the team at Soutas Financial can help you find the fees within your investments and explore solutions designed to assist with minimizing them. Take control of your retirement savings so that you can work towards keeping more of your hard-earned money. Call for your very own complimentary Retire Your Way review and fee finder report. Let us help work towards finding, exposing, and helping to eliminate those potential hidden fees for you. Call Dale Soutas and Soutas Financial today for your complimentary fee review. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Is your largest retirement savings account one that you haven't paid taxes on? Like millions of Americans, you've saved into a retirement account that deferred paying taxes until you take that money out years from now. One method to save on future taxes is called a Roth conversion, and you could do that right now to save yourself from higher taxes in the future. Currently living during the lowest tax rates of likely your lifetime, wouldn't it make sense to pay those taxes now instead of in the future when tax rates could be much higher? Call 833-856-1382 to talk with Dale Soutas and the team at Soutas Financial to see if doing a Roth conversion from your 401ks or IRAs makes sense. Take the Roth Conversion Challenge from Dale Soutas and the team at Soutas Financial. It's complimentary for our radio listeners who are serious about retirement planning. Challenge yourself. Would you rather pay lower taxes now or higher taxes in the future? Call for your own complimentary Roth Conversion Challenge from Dale Soutas and Soutas Financial. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Call Dale Soutas of Retire Your Way and Soutas Financial for your complimentary Retire Your Way review. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Welcome back to Retire Your Way with your financial advisor right here in California, Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial. Go to the website if you want to learn more about Dale. There's a wonderful movie clip on there, 2-minute trailer on there, The Baby Boomer Dilemma. If you want to watch a movie at home about why it's so important today for you, our listeners, to be doing your retirement planning, Dale can get you access to that movie. Watch the trailer on his website, soutas.com.
Yes, excellent.
SOUTAS.com. Dale,
Yep.
you in particular.
Oh, hey, there's also a scary looking guy in a purple tie with the little 3-minute video, his story as a kid. That kind of gives an idea. Yeah.
We're going to have to get together in the studios. We're definitely going to have to do some videos together and get some stuff updated up onto your website. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that would be updated. Needs to be updated.
You know what, Dale? This can be true. Now, I know that you're a financial advisor. I know that you are a fiduciary. I know that you have many different kind of different lanes and things that you help people with. It's way, way, way beyond just investment advice and what to do with your assets. But there's a lot of folks, if I say the phrase financial advisor in a restaurant or at a casual outing with somebody, it's like, what exactly do you do? Or what do you not do? What is a financial advisor? Somebody might not pick up the phone because they go, look, this is just going to be somebody who's going to sell me something that I don't need. What do you do, Dale?
Right. Yeah, because people, so what do you do, Dale? Well, I don't know. No, it depends. Everybody's, like I said, number one, everybody's different. But we're looking at not just your income plan and how to make sure you have that paycheck, play check, care check to last your whole life. So you know that, your money will last, your income will last. So we help people, even if it's a matter of the budgeting, so to speak. What do you need to pay the bills? Okay, so we do that. Sometimes it's about how to position your savings so that it's going to last or can grow and lower the risk. Or it might be your insurances. What type of insurance. Sometimes people, they come in, they're already retired, and I don't have any life insurance. You think I need life insurance? What would it be for? But it might be more so as you get closer to retirement, to retiring and getting onto Medicare. What type of Medicare plan? We have people who actually specialize in that, but the basic coaching on when you have to start Medicare A and when to start Medicare B. And do you need a supplement? Do you need a Medicare Advantage plan? Things of that sort. We're licensed in that, but we have ones who specialize in that we can refer you to. But you should know the basics before you talk to them. But what about taxes? Like
Wait a minute, I thought you were a
said,
financial advisor. Financial advisor. Why are you bringing up taxes?
Yeah, taxes, because it's everybody's favorite, right? So the difference between tax planning that we do and the tax preparation that your TurboTax or your CPA does, right? When you do your taxes each year and you see your accountant or CPA, whoever, they're doing tax preparation. They're basically taking, looking at what you just did last year, the history, and showing you now, here's what you pay Uncle Sam and Uncle Newsom, whatever. What tax planning is, that we do, is how to hopefully lessen or even eliminate unnecessary taxes in your future. We're looking at ways to reduce your taxes in the future. A lot of people don't think about, I saved this $1 million or whatever, $500,000 or $5 million in my, retirement plans, my, tax deferred accounts. And okay, great. You have a tax bomb. And when you retire, you have, typically a lot of people have some fixed income, like Social Security, maybe pensions, maybe even rental income, okay, that is going to be pretty steady. And now at some future point, you have to take money out of those tax-deferred retirement accounts, typically age 73. And even if you don't want it, you have to take it out. Now, that income is on top of all your other income. And so it's taxed at whatever the highest tax bracket you've pushed your money up to. So how do we possibly do Roth conversions? So we're looking at, while tax rates are low, well, if you're married, especially you're at the married low tax rates, take advantage of that. Because if the husband has this money and he dies and now the wife has that tax deferred money, she goes from the low married tax rates jumping up to the single tax rate. So it becomes even a bigger tax bombs. And then how do you pass that on to the kids? A little tip we give people on an IRA, let's say, their retirement accounts that are tax deferred. If you have, let's say, 2 kids and they each have 2 kids. So we don't go 50-50 to your kids on the beneficiary listing. We do 48% to each of your children, 1% to each of your grandchildren, naming them, which opens a door for your children to be able to pass that money down to them if they don't want or need it, and especially if they don't want to pay taxes on it, they can pass it down to their children, your grandchildren, without having to pay taxes on it. It's called disclaiming. If you do not name your grandchildren, they cannot do it. IRS doesn't bend on that rule. But so there's some neat, strategies that sometimes people don't think about. So it's not just about how to make your money grow or just how to have income. But we're going to look at the whole enchilada, whole picture. And, because again, where's your focus? Where do you want your focus in retirement? Do you want to be focused on, I got to stare at my money every day and make sure I don't lose it and hopefully it'll last? No. Focus on each other, focus on the kids, the grandkids, or the fun things you want to do. That's where your focus needs to be.
I want to see if I can squeeze these both in before we end our program today. There are reasons out there, so many different reasons, your own personal reasons why you haven't reached out to a financial advisor who can help you, who's to sit down with somebody like Dale. There's no cost to you. We can just give you some insight. We can give you some peace of mind that either A, you're doing okay, or B, we can show you some things that maybe can help you catch up. We call it ramping up your retirement. But this is kind of a fine line that pretty quickly meshes together. Somebody might say to you, well, I'm not retiring yet, so I can kick this can down the road, which then very quickly turns into, I don't have enough time. I didn't save enough. I'm behind. It's not going to do me any good. So
yeah. Oh, that's really good. Yeah. It's like I know people, I know this couple, and I ask, because they have a house, they've got, things, and the house needs to be in a trust to pass without probate to the kids. Do you have a trust? No. Well, maybe down the road. No power of attorney, no healthcare directive. It's like, okay. It's kind of like I'll wait and buy my auto insurance until I get in a crash. Yeah, that'll work. You can't do it.
No,
so we don't want you kicking the can down the road. It's like planning for long-term care. No one likes to talk about how to cover long-term care. I mean, that's the last they want. But we like to make sure if you need it down the road, we've got it built into your plan. And again, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. But yeah, so
don't kick it down the road.
Don't keep kicking it down the road. So that they're not too young where I'm not retiring yet. Hey, if you are retiring sometime in the next few years, now is the time to get started on it. Look, it doesn't matter if it's 3 or 4 years down the road. You don't wait to see what your savings is and then go, all right, let me show you my cards. How did I do? No, let's see if there's some things that we can help you with. Throughout today's show, Dale has talked about a couple of different things. We've talked about tax strategies, but more importantly, an in-service rollover. If you're worried about the market volatility, which I do still want to recognize throughout today's program, we get it. The markets are volatile. So be active. do something about it. And the doing something about it isn't getting emotional about your investments. It's about making sure that you're not taking too much risk, and maybe you can protect some of that right now, an in-service rollover, but not contributing to retirement accounts or putting your money all over in cash saying, I can't take this anymore. That's possibly an overreaction in the other direction that isn't going to serve your best interest for your portfolio later down the road. Give us a call, folks. What are you going to say, Dale? I'm going to give out the phone number here. But
yeah,
you go
just
ahead.
kick it around with us. Just don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
And know your options. And it's better to know than to get in the situation and you're in a panic. We used to put on workshops about just long-term care options for ones, and a lot of people come in, just to know what the different options are. And again, we can help with that without having to buy the long-term care insurance. But more importantly, as you get in, even if you're retired and you're still worried about stuff, same as somebody who's getting, heading towards retirement, let's put our heads together. And again, I don't want you worrying about your money. That's no way to live.
The worry, the stress, the concern, fear, all of these are real emotions. All of them are part of the cycle of investor emotions. But if your emotions are driving your financial decisions right now, meaning they're in charge, your fight or flight feelings right now, that literally goes back to thousands and thousands of years of psychology, that we don't want your emotions driving what you're doing. Let's try to help you make sure that you've got a plan, a strategy, the assets, the tools that can help you sleep at night. And if you are concerned about today's markets and what's going on right now, please feel free to give us a call. Set up your time. You get a free appointment with Dale. You get several free appointments with Dale. We just want to see if we can help you. And if he can point you in the right direction, we'll let you know exactly what those things are going to be. And it's no cost for our radio listeners to sit down with your financial advisor, Dale Soutas. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. That's all the time we have this week, but people are standing by to schedule that appointment for you. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back again next week.
As a valued radio listener of Retire Your Way, Dale and his entire team of retirement professionals invite you to schedule your very own complimentary retirement plan review session. 833-856-1382 is the number for you to call. If you don't have a retirement strategy mapped out that includes low-fee investment elections, tax minimization strategies, decumulation plans that will last as long as you need them to, then call for your very own retirement review session, complimentary for our valued radio listeners. Are you able to lower your taxes in retirement? Are you unclear about your Social Security, Medicare, investment fees and risk, or how to produce guaranteed lifetime income so your lifestyle and goals don't have to be changed with the ups and downs of the market or taxes? Call Dale Soutas with Soutas Financial and be confident you can retire your way. Schedule your own comprehensive and complimentary retirement review session. Don't just live in retirement, thrive. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and are not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific investment opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns is not indicative of future results. Any discussions of specific strategies are for informational purposes only and have been provided to help determine whether they may be appropriate for your specific situation. If applicable, the primary goal in converting retirement assets into a Roth IRA is to reduce the future tax liability on the distributions you take in retirement or on the distributions of your beneficiaries. Each individual investor's situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Comments regarding a particular client's experience may or may not be the same as another client's experience, and is not an indication that any client or prospective client will experience the same or a higher level of future success or performance. Foundations only transacts business in states where it is properly registered or is excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. Nothing herein constitutes a recommendation that any security, portfolio of securities, or investment strategy is suitable for any specific person. No legal or tax advice is provided. Please review your retirement tax and legacy planning strategies with a legal or tax professional before transacting or implementing any strategy discussed herein. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. This is not endorsed or affiliated with the Social Security Administration, any federal Medicare program, nor any U.S. government agency. If applicable, we do not offer every plan in your area, and contacting us at the phone numbers provided herein will direct you to a licensed insurance agent. Any information we provide is limited to those plans we do offer in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov or 1-800-MEDICARE to get information on all of your options. All rights reserved.